Assalamu alaikum, welcome to Miss Mona Shanayan online physics course for grade 10 students in STEM school, and solve problems on the first law of thermodynamics in thermodynamics processes. Question number 1. According to the first law of thermodynamics, applied to a gas, the increase in the internal energy during any process. What would happen is the internal energy increases. As the value from the first law of thermodynamics, the change of the internal energy delta U equal Q minus W. By substituting here for the quantity of heat, the work done, what is the increase in the internal energy, as there is a positive sign for the internal energy equal to the amount of heat done, work done on the gas, so the work done will take a positive sign, so it will equal to the quantity of heat plus work done. Here this choose cannot be correct, as the work done on the gas will take a negative times negative, so it will be a positive value, so it will be plus not minus. Okay, work done on the gas minus the heat inputs, of course not, as heat inputs it must take a positive sign, not a negative sign, equal to the work done on the gas multiplies the heat input, and there is not the first law of thermodynamics, so this choose the only correct one. Question number 2. An enclosed gas is compressed at a constant temperature. Which of the following mathematical relation is true? Okay, enclosed gas, so this at a constant temperature, so this process is isothermal process. In the isothermal process, the change of the internal energy equals 0. So in the first law of thermodynamics, delta U equal Q minus W. So when the internal energy equals 0, so all the amount of energy will be transferred into a work done. Okay. Question number 3. When an amount of gas gained heat energy while its temperature is kept constant, of course is the same as this one, as the temperature is constant, so this process is isothermal process. Question number 4. An enclosed gas expanded from 50 meter cube to 25 meter cube under the effect of a constant pressure of 20 kilopascal. What is the magnitude of the work done by the gas? Okay, work done equals to B delta V, is the volume change here in the value of the work done here equal to the value of the pressure here equal to 20, and then we got that the value of the work done. Okay, there's work done by the gas, so it will take a positive sign. Question number 5. A gas trapped in a container under a constant pressure of 2000 pascal and allowed to be expanded from 1 meter cube to 4 meter cube. What is the magnitude of the work done? Is the same with this problem. We can substitute, and as the value here, okay, is a positive value, so as he mentioned that it's allowed to be expanded. As the gas expanded, so the work done is done by the system or done by the gas, okay, and take a positive sign. Question number 6. Which PV graph represents 0 work done by the gas? Okay, which one here gives us the zeros? There is the relation of the work done, B delta V. Of course, that is the difference in the volume that is equal to 0, that there is no change in the volume when the work done equals 0. So this graph represents isovolumetric process, or whereas the volume is constant. Question number 7. A mercury manometer is connected to one lamp of a large string as shown in the figure. The two levels of mercury were in one horizontal levels when the inner side of the plunger stood at a mark of 30 milliliters. The plunger has been pushed slowly, keeping temperature constant to bring its inner sides to the mark of 20 milliliters. As the volume here changes, so the pressure will be changed. If the atmospheric pressure at that time was 75 centimeter mercury, what would be when the two lamps would the final pressures, the difference in the mercury pressure, the height, what would be? Is here in substituting in the relations of at a constant temperature. So this isothermal process. So the pressure times the volume for the first case equal to that of the second case. By substituting here, we get the value of the pressures of the final case. As the difference in height is equivalent to the value of the pressure, so the difference in height from 112.5 minus 75 centimeter equal to 37.5 centimeter. So this is the value, that is the difference in the mercury levels at which number 10. Fixed amount of ideal gas undergoes an isochoric or isobarometric, which is the volume is constant, in which its pressure increases. Of course, the pressure would be increases, which entry in the table below correctly fills the signs of the work done, and the change in internal energy and the heat exchange. Which one would be the correct sign? Let's see what would happen here. Of course, it is isovolumetric, so the change in volume equal to 0. So delta V equals 0 and W equals 0. So the work done equals 0. By substituting in the first law of thermodynamics, then we got delta U equals Q. That's the change in the internal energy is a positive value and the heat exchange is a positive value. Okay? As the pressure increases, as mentioned here, the pressure increases. So the quantity of heat is added to the system that increases the internal energy. Question number 11. What happens with a carbon dioxide fire exchanger, which is a gas combining out at a high pressure and cooling as it expanded at atmospheric pressure? This is an example of course, there is a change in the volume as it expanded and the temperatures as it's cooling, and change in the pressures as the pressures will be getting higher ground. So this process changes in pressure and volume and temperature, which is the properties of adiabatic process without an addition of an amount of heat. The temperature increased without an addition of quantity of heat, and also there is a work done happens here or occurs here without an addition of heat, which is the adiabatic process. Question number 12. A thermally isolated gas allowed to pass through a valve. Here, this gas allowed to pass through this valve to an evacuated container in a vacuum. What would happen when this gas is moved? There is an expansion and there is an increase in the volume, and of course the pressure would be increased, the volume increased, sorry, the pressure would be decreased, and so the internal energy would be decreased. Of course, as the temperature decreases. This is the properties of the adiabatic process. Okay, of course, this gas will be cooled down as the temperature will be decreased, and the pressure also will be decreased. Okay. number 13. System undergoes an adiabatic process in which its internal energy increases by 20 joule. Which of the following statement is correct? In this process where the quantity of heat equals 0, so by substituting by as the internal energy increases, it will take a positive value and the work done will take a negative one. Okay, so the work done will be on the system as it has a negative sign. It's the opposite as this one. This one, the work done is done by the system. Question number 14. What happens when an adiabatic expanding occurs for some gas? Okay, as gas expanded, so the work done is by the system, so the work done will take a positive sign. So the change of the internal energy will take a negative sign, so the temperature will be decreases. Of course, as it is the gas expanded, so the temperature will be decreased. Number 15, which of the following statements is true about the adiabatic process? In the adiabatic process, Q equals 0. We have different situations as we mentioned here. It may be negative W equals delta U, or W equals negative delta U, or W equals delta U. As here, let's see what the correct choose. The work done by the environment on the system equal to the change in the internal energy. All of them are positive signs. Let's test what this choose says. And energy absorbed as heat equal to the work done by the system. Of course not. Work done by the system has a positive value. Energy absorbed, energy cannot be absorbed in the adiabatic process. Of course, this one cannot be the correct one, as the energy also cannot be absorbed. And of course, this one is the energy not be absorbed to the system. In the adiabatic process, it is a system that no heat gained to the system. Question number 16. Which of the following statements is true about adiabatic process? Of course, no loss, neither loss or gained any heat.